the alien armada that came for Earth and was erased before Mars. Lisa Brown sat alone in the observatory, staring at the black sky through the giant telescope. The stars were quiet and steady, just as they always were, until a tiny flicker appeared far beyond Pluto. At first, she thought it was a comet or a small asteroid, something normal and harmless. But as she watched, the flicker moved in a straight line, faster than anything she had ever seen. It was too organized to be natural. She pressed a button and zoomed in. There it was, clearer now, a strange formation of lights moving together like a single organism. Lisa's heart raced. She picked up the radio and called Eric Hall, her colleague at the nearby Space Research Center. "Eric, you need to see this," she said, her voice shaky. "It's not a comet, it's something else." Eric came quickly, rubbing his eyes. "What do you mean, something else?" he asked. Lisa showed him the screen. Eric's mouth opened slightly, then closed. This is a fleet," he said quietly. "Millions of kilometers away and moving straight for us. These aren't satellites. These aren't ships we built. Lisa, I think it's alien." Lisa's stomach sank. "Aliens here, moving toward Earth." "Looks like it," Eric said. He pressed a button and sent a signal to Nina Carter, another scientist. Soon, all three of them were watching the strange formation grow larger on their screens. The lights were perfectly aligned, arranged like a massive arrow pointing straight at Mars and then at Earth. "What do they want?" Lisa whispered. She knew the answer might be impossible to guess, but still she asked. "I don't know," Nina said, "but look at the scale. This isn't exploration. This is an attack." The news reached the space agencies and governments quickly. Every major city held emergency meetings, trying to understand what was coming. Military leaders like Jason Cole and scientists like Caleb Morris were called in to study the images. The aliens' formation was precise, and their speed was terrifying. People on Earth panicked. Social media filled with rumors, warnings, and fear. Some claimed the aliens would destroy the planet in days. Others tried to calm people down, saying there was no proof of hostility. But in the observatories and labs, Lisa, Eric, and Nina worked silently, watching the armada grow closer every hour. "We need to track them," Caleb said. "We need to understand their path. If they are targeting Mars first, maybe we can prepare something there." "Prepare what?" asked Amy Ford, a physicist who specialized in experimental energy fields. "We don't have weapons that can reach that far. Even our satellites would be useless. This is not like any war humans have fought." "We might not need weapons," Lisa said. "Maybe we can think differently. Maybe we don't have to fight them the way they expect." "Thinking differently is good, but we don't have time," Eric said. "If they reach Mars, it's only a matter of days before they get closer to Earth." In the meantime, the armada continued moving silently through space. Their ships were enormous, shaped like triangles and disks, glowing faintly with strange energy. No signals came from them except one, a simple broadcast in a language no human could understand. The sound was harsh, metallic, and somehow cold, like it carried no emotion. "They want something," Nina said, "but I don't know what. It doesn't sound peaceful." In the cities, people tried to continue their lives, but fear spread quickly. Schools closed, streets emptied, and the media broadcasted live updates of the approaching fleet. Children asked questions adults could not answer. Families huddled together at night, wondering if they would see another sunrise. Despite the fear, Lisa and the team kept working. She and Eric spent hours analyzing the armada's movement, trying to detect patterns, weaknesses, or anything that could help. Caleb and Amy worked on the physics side, thinking about fields, energy, and space manipulation. They were not generals or soldiers. They were thinkers, problem solvers, and humanity's survival might depend on their ideas. One night, Lisa stayed alone at the observatory, watching the lights move closer. She could see every ship in the formation, millions of them stretching across the darkness. She felt small, insignificant, but she also felt a strange determination. If humans had survived for thousands of years, it was because they could adapt. They could change, improvise, and find solutions where no one else could. She tapped a screen, sending a detailed analysis to Eric. "I think they assume we are weak," she typed. "They probably think we won't fight back," Eric replied. "Maybe we don't fight the way they expect." "Maybe that's our advantage." Lisa smiled faintly. The idea gave her hope. Humanity had never faced an enemy like this before. The armada was vast, powerful, and merciless, or at least that was what it seemed. But humans had something aliens could not predict: creativity, unpredictability, and the ability to learn quickly. The next morning, the team met in the research center's main room. Jason Cole, the military commander, entered and nodded at everyone. "We've seen the images. We know what's coming, but we need a plan, even if it's not a traditional attack plan," Caleb spoke up. "We have ideas, but we need time. The Armada moves fast. If we miscalculate, Mars will be the first to fall." Amy added, "We are not unarmed, just not in the usual way. We have technology they do not expect, experiments that could change space itself around them." Jason frowned. "We are not used to fighting this way. It is risky, and we have no way to be sure it will work, but I trust your judgment. If humans can survive, it will be because of people like you." Outside, the sun rose over the horizon, casting its first light on a trembling planet. The alien armada grew bigger in the sky with every passing hour, an unstoppable wave heading toward Mars and then Earth. But inside labs, observatories, and control rooms, a small group of humans worked tirelessly. They were not soldiers, not warriors. They were thinkers, scientists, and engineers. And they held a quiet hope that humans might survive, not with brute force, but with intelligence. Lisa looked at the stars one last time before leaving the observatory. The lights of the Armada stretched across the blackness like a river of fire. She felt fear, yes, but she also felt pride in humanity's stubbornness. Humans had survived floods, fires, disease, wars, and even their own mistakes. Maybe, just maybe, they could survive this too. As night fell again, the fleet moved closer to Mars. But humanity did not panic. They watched, they calculated, and they prepared. A plan was forming, not a plan to fight the aliens the way they expected, but a plan to survive. And deep inside, Lisa whispered to herself, "We are not helpless. We never were." The stars remained quiet, except for the faint, eerie glow of the alien armada. The first real test for humanity had begun. The alien armada moved steadily through the darkness of space, its lights stretching across millions of kilometers. On Earth, Lisa Brown and her team worked without stopping. The world outside was tense. Cities were quieter than usual, schools and businesses closed, and people gathered in small groups to discuss what might happen. Everyone knew the aliens were coming, but no one knew how to stop them. Inside the research center, Eric Hall paced the floor, staring at the screens. "They are faster than we thought," he said. "If they reach Mars in 3 days, Earth could be next in a week." Amy Ford shook her head. "Speed isn't the only factor," she said. "We have tools they don't expect. Our experiments with space fields, energy compression, and quantum grids could change the battlefield. We just need time to activate them." Caleb Morris leaned over a table covered with blueprints and schematics. "We need to focus on Mars first. If we lose it, the aliens will have a staging ground close to Earth. But if we can create traps or obstacles in space around Mars, we can slow them down or even stop them entirely." Jason Cole, the military commander, crossed his arms. "We are not soldiers in the usual sense," he said, "but we have minds and technology. If we use them right, we might survive this. If we fail, there may be nothing left." Lisa looked at the screens again. The alien fleet was enormous, millions of ships moving as if they were one living thing. She noticed something strange in their formation. The ships moved in perfect symmetry, almost like they were programmed to follow the same paths precisely. "Look at this," she said, pointing to the screen. "Their formation is too perfect. If we can predict their movement, we might manipulate it." Eric frowned. "Manipulate it? How?" Amy smiled slightly. "Space itself can be changed. Small distortions in gravity, energy waves, even light can affect movement over long distances. If we combine our technologies, we might redirect parts of the Armada without firing a single shot." Lisa's eyes lit up. "So you're saying we can trick them into moving where we want?" Amy nodded. "Exactly. The fleet is smart, but it assumes the universe is normal. We can make it abnormal." Caleb added, "We need drones and satellites, anything to create a network of sensors and energy emitters. If we can map the fleet and its path precisely, we can create a web around Mars to guide them." Jason rubbed his chin. "It's risky. If we fail, they'll reach Mars faster, and nothing we have can stop them in time." Lisa stepped closer. "But if we succeed, we don't even fight them directly. We survive without losing lives." The team worked day and night. Lisa, Eric, and Nina monitored the fleet, calculating its trajectory, speed, and formation patterns. Caleb and Amy worked on the energy fields, running tests and simulations. Engineers like Tom Baker and Hannah Lee built new satellites, small drones, and devices to project energy waves. Every action, every calculation was meant to slow the aliens, confuse them, and prepare for a trap. Outside, people tried to live normally, but fear lingered. Markets were busy with panic buying, families stocked food and water, and children clung to parents, asking questions no adult could answer. Governments tried to calm the public, but even leaders knew how serious the threat was. In the lab, Lisa paused for a moment and looked at a screen showing the alien armada. Millions of ships stretched like a river of lights across space, but now, they noticed small variations in the formation. It was subtle, but the ships were adjusting to the tiny distortions in space that humans had already begun creating. "They're reacting," Eric said, astonished. "Even before we fully deploy the system, they notice changes. They're careful." Amy nodded. "That's good. It means our field is working. Small adjustments now, bigger traps later." As the team worked, humanity's other defenses slowly came online. Old space stations were reactivated. Satellites that had been idle for years were redirected to new purposes, and communication networks were strengthened to link every observatory, lab, and command center. People like Nina and Hannah stayed awake for hours, connecting every system together. Caleb reviewed a holographic map of Mars and the surrounding space. "We need to create zones," he said. "Zones where the Armada will feel the pressure of energy distortion, confusion, and unpredictability. If they enter these zones, they won't know which way to move. We can slow them, break formations, and even trap them before they reach Mars orbit." Lisa watched him, amazed at the precision. "It's incredible," she said. "We are building a maze in space for an enemy that thinks it's in control." Eric smiled faintly. "Humans have always survived against impossible odds. Maybe this time is no different." As hours turned into days, the Armada drew closer. The lights grew brighter, almost filling the sky. Amateur astronomers and people with backyard telescopes noticed the strange formations, but few understood their meaning. On television, the news channels showed simulations and artist drawings of the fleet, trying to explain what was coming. Fear spread, but so did wonder. Some wondered how a species from another star could travel so far. Others only feared the destruction they might bring. In the labs, Amy, Caleb, Lisa, and the team were exhausted but determined. They made last-minute adjustments to the energy fields and projected networks. Drones were placed in orbit around Mars, satellites were set in positions far beyond the planet, and every system was linked to a central control hub on Earth. Lisa took a moment to step outside the lab. The night sky was quiet, except for the faint glow of the alien Armada. She could see its reflection in the oceans, stretching across the horizon like a faint, cold fire. She thought of families, friends, and all the people counting on the team. Fear pressed on her chest, but she felt determination stronger. She returned inside to find Eric running final simulations. "We have a chance," he said. "If everything goes as planned, Mars will be ready. The fleet will enter our web of energy fields, and we will control their movement without firing a weapon. Not one life will be lost if we do this right." Jason Cole looked at all of them. "This is not war as anyone has fought before. It is strategy, science, and courage. We cannot fail." Hours passed. The team slept in short shifts, but never fully. The alien fleet was moving faster now, a silent river of light stretching across millions of kilometers. Its approach could be felt everywhere, even on Earth, like a shadow pressing from beyond the solar system. Finally, the first zone was activated. Energy waves spread across space, bending the small paths of the Armada's outer ships. Tiny disruptions formed in their formation, and sensors on human satellites detected the first hesitations. "They are slowing," Nina whispered, amazed. "They don't know why." "Our field is working," Caleb smiled faintly. "Good, this is just the beginning. Next, we expand the zones, we push them deeper into the trap." Lisa leaned over the console. "It's strange," she said. "We're not firing anything at them. They don't even know we are attacking." "But we are winning in a way," Eric nodded. "Humans always find ways to survive. Sometimes the fight is not with weapons, but with intelligence." As the first day ended, the alien Armada was still moving, but with slight hesitation. The vast fleet, powerful and advanced, was beginning to respond to something it could not understand. Humanity had created the first signs of hope. Mars, for the moment, was safe, but the team knew this was only the start. The Armada would continue to approach. Each step forward could reveal new dangers, unknown powers, or even mistakes. One wrong calculation could cost everything. Lisa, Eric, Caleb, Amy, Nina, and Jason gathered in the control room for a brief moment. Silence filled the space, broken only by the quiet hum of machines and the blinking of monitors. "We've done what we can for now," Lisa said softly. "The fleet is reacting. Mars is our shield, and Earth will be next, but we are ready." "Ready as we can be," Jason added. "The rest is up to the aliens and us." Outside, the lights of the alien armada glimmered faintly, moving slowly toward Mars, unaware of the invisible trap that awaited them. Humanity had begun to change the game, not with weapons, but with mind and determination. For the first time, humans felt a real sense of hope, a hope that survival did not depend on strength alone, but on courage, intelligence, and the will to act. And somewhere deep in space, the alien fleet continued moving, still unaware that the quiet, fragile planet they thought they could conquer was already preparing to control them. The alien armada had grown closer to Mars. The lights of millions of ships stretched across space like a frozen river, moving slowly but steadily. From Earth and Mars stations, scientists and commanders watched in tense silence. Lisa Brown, Eric Hall, and Nina Carter monitored every signal, every flicker, every small movement of the fleet. The human trap was ready. The energy zones, satellite networks, and drones formed a hidden web around the red planet, invisible to the aliens but waiting to take effect. Jason Cole leaned over a large console, watching the trajectory maps. "They are entering the first zone," he said quietly. "All systems full alert. Remember, nothing can fail." Caleb Morris adjusted a small device projecting energy waves into space. "These waves will distort gravity in small pockets," he explained. "The outer ships will feel it first. The fleet is so rigid that any tiny disruption could ripple inward." Amy Ford checked the readings from the quantum sensors. "We have calculated the timing precisely," she said. "The energy pulses should be synchronized as the fleet crosses the first boundary. If we do this right, the aliens will not even realize it is happening until it is too late." Lisa sat at her console, her eyes scanning the approaching formation. The ships were enormous, triangular and disc-shaped, glowing faintly with alien energy. Millions of them moved in perfect symmetry, and yet as they entered the first zone, tiny irregularities appeared. Some outer ships slowed slightly, others shifted direction. The fleet was reacting to something invisible. "It's working," Eric said, voice low with awe. "The fleet is changing without knowing why. We are controlling them." Nina leaned closer. "They will adjust constantly, but our system will keep them confused. Once they reach the second zone, the distortions increase. That's when things get interesting." Hours passed. The alien armada moved closer to Mars, and the subtle distortions in space began to take effect. Outer ships lost perfect alignment. Formations wavered. Some smaller vessels collided with each other, while others spun slightly out of their paths. The aliens, advanced as they were, did not expect the universe itself to act against them. "Look at the collision in Sector 3, Lisa pointed to a screen. "Just minor, but it's a sign. We are influencing them." Eric nodded. "Every small ripple counts." One mistake in their formation could spread like a wave through the entire fleet, and that's what we need. On the Mars stations, teams worked tirelessly to manage the energy fields and drones. Hannah Lee and Tom Baker adjusted satellites and sensors, making sure no gap existed in the web. Each small calculation could make the difference between success and failure. "They are entering the second zone," Amy said, excitement and tension in her voice. "Prepare for the main pulse." Caleb activated the second stage. Energy waves intensified, bending space slightly and creating invisible obstacles. The alien ships began to feel strange pressure, navigation systems failing in ways they could not correct. Triangular ships drifted from their paths, disc-shaped vessels rotated unexpectedly. The fleet was no longer a perfect arrow, it had become a scattered, confused mass. "They are losing control," Lisa said. "Outer ships are drifting, some are colliding." Eric leaned back in his chair. "And the best part is they don't know what's happening. This is our advantage. The fleet assumes the universe is normal, but we made it abnormal." Jason Cole watched the screen silently, his jaw tight. "Keep going, do not stop." Any hesitation now, and they could recover. In orbit around Mars, small drones moved silently, invisible to alien sensors. They projected energy pulses, corrected distortions, and fed data back to the Earth Control Center. Every device worked in harmony, a silent symphony controlling millions of ships without a single human leaving the ground. "We need to push them further," Caleb said. "Once they enter the third zone, they will encounter stronger distortions. It will be impossible for them to maintain formation." The team activated the third zone. Energy pulses bent space more sharply, and the alien fleet began to falter visibly. Ships spun, slowed, or collided. Even the largest vessels struggled to maintain course. Human sensors recorded the chaos. It was unprecedented. Never before had a small species manipulated a fleet of this size without firing a single weapon. "This is incredible," Nina whispered. "They are advanced but predictable. Humans never follow predictable patterns, and now we are using that against them." Lisa watched the screens, noticing how the central ships, which should have been the most stable, began to shift slightly. "The ripple is reaching the heart of the fleet," she said. "If we continue, the entire armada will collapse inward on itself." Eric's eyes widened. "You're saying we can erase them before they even reach Mars?" Amy nodded. "Yes, the energy compression field can fold space in small sections, and the fleet is already inside the zones. They will not recover. All we have to do is maintain the fields and guide them." Jason looked at the team with pride. "This is the moment humanity proves that brains can beat size and power. Keep focus. Nothing else matters now." The armada reached the third zone. Distortions became stronger. Outer ships collided with each other more frequently. Central ships tried to maintain formation but faltered. Millions of vessels, advanced and deadly, were now a confused mass drifting toward Mars. On Earth, news channels reported strange signals in space. Amateur astronomers noticed odd movements. People speculated wildly, some thinking it was a natural phenomenon, others claiming alien malfunction. No one realized that humanity was orchestrating the event, controlling the largest fleet ever to approach the solar system. In the control room, Lisa monitored the energy readings. "All zones are holding. Distortions are increasing. The fleet cannot adjust anymore." "It is perfect," Eric smiled faintly. "They will never know what hit them." Caleb adjusted the final stage, an energy compression pulse designed to fold sections of space. "Once this activates fully, the fleet will collapse inward. Nothing will escape. Mars will be untouched and Earth safe." Amy activated the pulse. Sensors recorded strange ripples in space. The alien ships, millions of them, slowed, drifted, and then began to fold inward. Triangular vessels twisted. Disc-shaped ships rotated uncontrollably. Massive collisions occurred, but nothing exploded violently. It was as if the fleet was dissolving into harmless energy echoes. Lisa, Eric, and Nina watched silently. The armada, once a terrifying river of lights, was gone, erased before it could even reach Mars. Humanity had not fired a single shot. They had not lost a life. Yet the galaxy's most powerful fleet had vanished, undone by intelligence, strategy, and invisible manipulation. Jason Cole exhaled slowly. "Mars is safe. We did it." Lisa smiled faintly. "They never even realized what happened. We didn't fight them the way they expected. We used our minds, our creativity, and our will to survive." Eric nodded. "They assumed humans were weak, primitive, and predictable, and that was their mistake." In the silence that followed, the team could hear their own breathing, the hum of machines, and the faint signals of remaining satellites. The alien threat was gone, but humanity had proven something greater. A small species could survive the impossible, not through firepower, but through intelligence and courage. On Mars, the stations transmitted live data back to Earth. Every sensor, every drone, and every energy field had worked perfectly. Humanity had faced a threat that could have destroyed them and had emerged unscathed, leaving the aliens erased before they even touched the planet. Lisa stood by the window of the control room, looking at the sky where the armada had been. "The galaxy will never see us the same way again," she said softly. Eric leaned beside her. "And they should not. Humans are not weak. Humans survive even when the odds are impossible." Jason looked at the team, pride and relief in his eyes. "We have done what no one else could. The fleet is gone. Mars is safe. Earth will be safe." Amy spoke quietly, almost to herself. "This is just the beginning. The galaxy will notice and they will remember." "Humans are not easy to predict, and they never will be," Nina smiled faintly. "We have changed the rules. We have survived in a way no one expected, and now the galaxy will have to respect it." The alien armada, once a river of destruction, was now gone. Humanity had survived without firing a shot, proving that intelligence, courage, and creativity could overcome even the greatest threat. Mars remained untouched, a silent witness to the unseen battle that had just taken place. The stars were quiet again, except for the faint hum of human satellites and energy fields still in orbit. For the first time, humans knew they were capable of the impossible. And the galaxy would learn soon enough that Earth was no longer a weak planet, but a species to be reckoned with. Lisa looked at the console one last time before leaving the control room. "We did it," she whispered. "We survived." And far in the darkness of space, the echoes of the erased armada floated silently, a reminder that humans had changed the rules of survival forever the alien armada was gone. The lights that had stretched across space for days had vanished, leaving Mars and the surrounding solar system untouched. For the first time, humanity could breathe, though no one in the control rooms, labs, or observatories truly relaxed. The event was too incredible, too sudden, and too unexpected. They had survived a threat that should have destroyed them, but now they had to understand what had happened. Lisa Brown sat at her console, staring at the last recorded signals. Every sensor, every drone, every satellite had recorded the collapse of the fleet. Millions of ships, advanced and deadly, had been erased without a single shot fired. She felt a strange mix of pride, relief, and awe. "It's unbelievable," she said softly. "We didn't fight them and they are gone." Eric Hall leaned over the console, scrolling through the data. "The energy compression fields worked exactly as we predicted. Every zone triggered in sequence, every pulse synchronized. It's almost like we were conducting a symphony and the Armada was the instrument." Nina Carter shook her head. "The galaxy will never understand how a species this small could do this. They will assume luck, or an accident, or something beyond comprehension." But it was all human intelligence, planning, and courage. Jason Cole, the military commander, walked into the room, his expression serious. "We survived, yes, but we cannot pretend this is over. The galaxy will notice. Other species will respond. Some will be afraid, some curious, and some hostile. We need a plan for what comes next." Caleb Morris joined them, reviewing holographic maps of Mars and the surrounding space. "The fleet's signals are gone, but we detected echoes. Residual energy that proves the Armada no longer exists as ships. It's as if they were erased from space itself. That's something even they could not anticipate." Amy Ford, who had monitored the final energy pulses, spoke next. "The aliens never realized the universe itself could be used as a weapon. They assumed technology and power were the only things that mattered. Humans are unpredictable, and that unpredictability saved us." Lisa nodded. "We have to study everything carefully. The fields, the pulses, the distortions. We need to understand the limits of what we did. If we can replicate this, it could change humanity's place in the galaxy forever." On Mars, scientists and engineers dismantled temporary stations and recalibrated drones for observation. Tom Baker and Hannah Lee worked to secure every satellite and energy projector, making sure nothing remained active that could malfunction or cause unintended effects. The Red Planet had become a stage for an unseen victory, a battlefield humans had never seen, and the aliens would never understand. Back on Earth, news of the Armada's disappearance spread slowly at first. Governments and military leaders confirmed that no alien ships remained near Mars. The public was cautious, afraid to celebrate too early. Social media overflowed with speculation, fear, and awe. Conspiracy theories mixed with scientific analysis, and humanity collectively began to understand that something incredible had just happened. In the control room, Lisa, Eric, and Nina studied the signals again. "We need to send a message," Lisa said. "Not a threat, not a warning, just proof that humans exist, that we are here, and that we survived." Jason Cole frowned. "Proof, yes, but carefully. We don't know who is watching. Other species might detect it. We cannot reveal our vulnerabilities or our methods." "Only that humans are not weak," Amy nodded. "We can encode a signal that shows our intelligence, our survival, and our creativity. A message that is not aggressive but clear. Humans are capable, humans are alive, and humans must be respected." Eric began designing the first transmission. It included simple patterns, mathematical sequences, signals showing the structure of our solar system, and recordings of humans working together during the crisis. Lisa added images of Mars, the satellites, and the energy zones, abstract enough not to reveal our technology in detail, but enough to prove humans were capable of extraordinary thinking. Nina suggested adding a voice message. Lisa, Amy, and Eric agreed. It was calm, clear, and simple. Humans had survived, and they had done so through intelligence, courage, and creativity. No threats were included, only facts and proof of their existence. "This is the first human signal to the galaxy," Lisa said softly. "It will reach the stars, and someone out there will notice. They will know humans are alive and not weak." Jason Cole leaned back. "We should be ready for responses. Some might be friendly, some curious, and some hostile, but at least we will be recognized." We survived something that no one expected. While the team worked on the signal, humanity began to analyze the lessons of the Armada. Scientists studied the alien ships, designed from the recorded observations, trying to understand their technology. Engineers looked at the energy fields, seeking improvements and ways to defend the solar system if needed. Every laboratory, observatory, and space center joined the effort to learn from the event. Lisa reflected on what they had achieved. "We did something no one believed possible. We didn't fire weapons, we didn't sacrifice lives, and we survived against an enemy far larger and stronger than us. Humans are unpredictable, that's our strength." Eric added, "The galaxy will learn soon enough. Some species may fear us, some may respect us, and some may try to study us. But one thing is certain, humans have survived the impossible. That is a message no one can ignore." On Mars, small teams worked to recover drones and satellites. Tom Baker checked each one, making sure they were functioning correctly. Hannah Lee studied the energy pulse data, comparing it to simulations. "We need to understand this fully," she said. "The galaxy may try to test us again. We need to be ready, not just by surviving, but by learning from every detail." Lisa, Eric, and Nina gathered at the main console to watch the first transmission leave the solar system. The signal, encoded with care and intelligence, began its journey into deep space. It would take years, decades, perhaps centuries to reach other species, but it carried the essence of humanity, survival, creativity, and courage. "It feels strange," Nina said. "We are not shouting or threatening, but sending proof that we exist. And it matters more than fighting ever could." Amy smiled. "Sometimes the greatest victory is surviving without destruction, showing intelligence, restraint, and courage. That is what humans have done." In cities across the Earth, people watched the skies and satellites, wondering what lay beyond. Humanity had faced a threat that could have ended them, and yet they survived. The fear that had gripped the world slowly shifted to awe and pride. Humans were no longer just inhabitants of Earth. They were a species capable of changing the rules, of surviving the impossible. In the laboratories, Lisa, Eric, and Nina studied the data endlessly. Each new analysis revealed more about the Armada, the energy fields, and the invisible traps they had set. Humanity had learned lessons that no other species had taught them. Intelligence and creativity could be stronger than numbers or technology. Courage combined with knowledge could achieve the impossible. Jason Cole spoke to the team, his voice steady but firm. "We have survived, but now we must prepare. The galaxy will notice, and some may come curious, some may come friendly, and some may come to challenge us. We must remain vigilant but also wise. Humans have the power to survive, but survival is not just about technology. It is about knowledge, intelligence, and unity." Lisa nodded. "And we have all three. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but in a good way." "The galaxy will have to remember that," Eric added, "and we can use this knowledge to grow, not just defend ourselves, but expand, explore, and reach new worlds. The Armada is gone, but this is only the beginning." Outside, Mars and the solar system were calm. No ships moved in formation, no signals threatened humanity. The stars were quiet, but now humans were ready. They had faced the impossible, survived, and sent a message to the galaxy. Humans were alive, capable, and not to be underestimated. Lisa looked at the first transmission on the console. It was simple, clear, and full of truth. "This is our first step into the galaxy," she said softly. "We survived, we learned, and we will continue. The universe is vast, but humans are ready." Eric smiled. "We may not know who is out there, but we know who we are, and that is enough for now." As the signal continued its long journey into deep space, humanity began to plan, to learn, and to grow. The alien Armada was gone, but the lessons remained. Humans had proven their strength, intelligence, and courage without fighting a single battle. The galaxy would soon know that Earth was home to a species that could survive the impossible. And somewhere, far beyond the solar system, the echoes of the erased armada drifted silently, carrying the memory of a species that underestimated humans. The galaxy would not forget this day. Humanity had changed not by conquest, not by violence, but by surviving and sending a clear message. Earth was alive, humans were capable, and the universe would never see them as weak again. The stars shone quietly above, and humans looked at them with a sense of wonder, pride, and readiness. The future was uncertain, but for the first time, humans felt confident. They had survived the impossible, learned from it, and sent their voice into the galaxy. The next chapter had begun. The alien armada was gone, Mars was safe, and the first human signal was traveling through deep space. For the first time in history, humans had faced a galactic threat and survived without firing a weapon. The control rooms on Earth and Mars were filled with a quiet energy, a mixture of pride, relief, and cautious anticipation. Humanity had changed, and the galaxy would soon notice. Lisa Brown, Eric Hall, and Nina Carter sat together, reviewing every detail of the events. Each record, each signal, each energy pulse had been carefully logged. The team worked tirelessly to understand what had happened and how it could be repeated or improved if needed. The alien fleet had been erased, not destroyed in battle, but folded into harmless energy. No one had died, no cities had been harmed, and yet the lesson was clear: humans could survive anything. Jason Cole, the military commander, walked into the control room with a serious expression. "We have survived the impossible," he said, "but survival is only the first step. The galaxy will respond. Some species may approach peacefully, some may observe us, and some may try to test us. We must be prepared for all of it." Caleb Morris nodded, pointing to a holographic map of the solar system. "Our defense systems, satellites, and energy fields must remain ready. Mars is secure, but the areas around it and the paths toward Earth must be monitored constantly. We cannot be complacent, even for a moment." Amy Ford added, "We also need to continue research. The energy compression fields, the distortions, and the zones we created were enough to erase the fleet. But we need to understand the limits of what humans can do. If another threat comes, we must be ready to act faster and smarter." Outside, the skies over Earth were clear, but the public knew the world had changed. News of the vanished armada and the human victory spread slowly at first, then like wildfire. People spoke in whispers and awe. Scientists and engineers became heroes. Governments held conferences to discuss the new place of humanity in the galaxy. Humanity was no longer weak. Humans were survivors, thinkers, and creators capable of incredible feats. Lisa and Eric began designing new monitoring systems, satellites, and drones to detect any incoming fleet or signal. Every device was linked, every path watched. Humanity had learned a hard lesson. Strength was not only in weapons, but in knowledge, intelligence, and unity. Nina spoke quietly to Lisa. "We survived because we were unpredictable. The aliens assumed we would panic, that we would react with fear. Instead, we used our minds. We were clever, and it saved us." Lisa nodded. "We must keep being clever. The galaxy will notice. Some species may respect us, but some may also see humans as dangerous. We need to be ready for either." Jason Cole addressed the control room, speaking to everyone involved in the operation. "This is not just a victory against one fleet. It is proof of humanity's ability to survive, adapt, and overcome. We must use this knowledge wisely. We are stronger together, and intelligence is our greatest weapon." As days turned into weeks, humanity worked to strengthen its place in the galaxy. Mars stations were expanded, drones and satellites were upgraded, and Earth became a hub for interstellar observation. New programs were started to study space, alien signals, and potential threats. Humans had survived the impossible, and now they were learning how to prepare for the unknown. The first transmission sent to the galaxy continued on its journey, carrying the message of humanity's existence, intelligence, and survival. Scientists, engineers, and leaders watched as it traveled through the void. They had not included threats or weapons, only proof of life and achievement. It was a clear statement. Humans were here, alive and capable. Lisa reflected on the moment. "We sent our voice into the stars, not as a warning, not as a threat, but as proof. The galaxy will know we exist, and that humans are clever, adaptable, and capable of surviving the impossible." Eric added, "And that is enough for now." We cannot control who sees it or what they think, but we have made our mark. Humans are no longer invisible. We are known. In laboratories across Earth and Mars, teams studied alien technology from observations, energy field data, and simulations. They worked to understand how the Armada functioned, how humans had controlled it, and how the knowledge could be used for defense and exploration. Humanity's creativity had saved the planet, and now it would guide them forward. Jason Cole reminded everyone, "This is just the beginning. The galaxy is vast. There are stars, planets, and species we have never seen. Some will be friendly, some neutral, some dangerous. But we are ready. We survived an impossible enemy. Now we prepare for anything the universe may send." Outside the control rooms, ordinary people went about their lives, but the world had changed. Humans now knew they were capable of surviving unimaginable threats. Children looked up at the stars with wonder, inspired by the courage and intelligence of their species. Families spoke of the victory quietly, proud that humanity had endured without destruction. Lisa, Eric, and Nina often stayed late at the observatory, studying the skies. The stars were calm again, but they knew the galaxy had noticed. Somewhere far away, other species were likely detecting their signal, observing humanity's solar system, and questioning what kind of species could erase an armada without a single shot. Amy Ford spoke during one of their late-night meetings. "We have proven something important. Humans are unpredictable, but that is our strength. Intelligence, courage, and creativity can overcome even the greatest odds. The galaxy will remember this." Caleb Morris nodded. "And we must continue to learn. Every day, every signal, every discovery prepares us for the future. We survived once. We can survive again and even thrive." As months passed, humanity began to expand its knowledge, exploring deeper into the solar system and beyond. Mars became a research hub, satellites monitored distant regions of space, and humans communicated with their own colonies and stations with new confidence. The story of the erased Armada became a legend among scientists, engineers, and those who had witnessed it. It was a proof that humans could survive the impossible and reshape the universe in ways no one expected. Lisa watched the stars one evening from the observatory. The first transmission to the galaxy had passed countless light years and continued onward. She thought about what might see it, who might respond, and how the galaxy would remember humanity. "Humans survived," she said softly. "We faced something no one believed we could, and we lived. That is our message. That is our mark." Eric smiled beside her. "The universe will notice. Some will respect us, some may fear us, and some may try to challenge us. But one thing is certain: humans are alive, clever, and not to be underestimated." Jason Cole stood behind them, looking at the sky. "This is only the beginning. The galaxy is wide and full of possibilities. We will face unknowns, yes, but we are ready. Humans have survived the impossible once. We can do it again." In classrooms, labs, and observatories across the world, children and young adults learned about the Armada and the invisible victory. Stories spread of the humans who faced a fleet millions strong and survived without a fight. It became part of human culture, a reminder that courage and intelligence could change the fate of an entire species. Lisa, Eric, and Nina worked on improving the energy systems, drones, and satellites, preparing for any possible return of hostile fleets. Amy and Caleb studied ways to expand the fields, making space itself a tool for defense and exploration. Humanity had learned that creativity and knowledge were the strongest weapons. As the years passed, humans expanded their presence in the solar system. Mars became home to permanent stations, observation posts, and scientific outposts. Satellites and drones monitored every corner of the system. Humans had survived once, and now they were ready to face whatever the galaxy could send. The stars remained silent, but humans no longer felt small or weak. They had faced the impossible and survived. They had erased a fleet before it could reach Mars, sent a message to the galaxy, and proven that intelligence and courage could overcome power and numbers. Lisa looked at a distant star, imagining that somewhere, perhaps far away, someone was watching humanity's signal and learning that this small species could survive the impossible. She felt a sense of pride and hope. Humans had changed the game, and the universe would never forget it. Eric said quietly, "We have survived, we have learned, and now the galaxy knows humans are clever, brave, and alive. Nothing can take that from us." Jason Cole added, "And that is our legacy." Not destruction, not war, but survival, intelligence, and courage. The galaxy will remember this day, and so will we. As the sun set on Earth and Mars, humanity continued its work, exploring, learning, and preparing. The alien armada was gone, but the lessons remained. Humans had proven that survival was possible against impossible odds, and they had done so without violence. The galaxy had noticed, and the future was full of endless possibilities. Lisa, Eric, Nina, Amy, Caleb, and Jason stood together in the control room looking at the stars. The universe was vast, unknown, and full of challenges. But humans had survived once, and now they were ready for whatever came next. And somewhere far across the galaxy, civilizations who detected the signal paused, noticing a species that had erased an armada before it even reached Mars. The message was clear. Humans were alive, intelligent, and not to be underestimated. Humanity had changed forever. They had survived the impossible, sent their voice into the stars, and proved that intelligence, courage, and unity could triumph over the greatest threats. The galaxy would never see Earth in the same way again. The stars were quiet, but humans were ready. The universe had learned something important. Never underestimate the species that could survive the impossible. And humanity looked to the future, confident, prepared, and alive.